The call came late on October 19th, 2024, echoing through the stillness of the night. The shrill ring cut through the silence, a sound that would mark the beginning of a mystery that would haunt Doylestown for years to come. It shattered the calm of the Doylestown police station, where officers rarely saw more than a lost pet or a minor dispute after dark. But this night was different. Ellen Parker, the town's beloved librarian, had vanished without a trace. Her absence sent shockwaves through the close-knit community where everyone knew everyone else. Her car and purse were left behind at the library, as if she had simply walked away in the middle of her evening routine. Nothing was stolen, nothing seemed out of place, except for Ellen herself. It was as if she'd stepped out of her life and disappeared into the autumn night, swallowed by the darkness and the swirling leaves. The town was left with more questions than answers. Doylestown wasn't used to mysteries like this. The town prided itself on its safety, its predictability. Now uncertainty crept in with the morning fog. Search parties scoured the woods, combing every inch of the dense forest and riverbanks. Neighbors volunteered, flashlights in hand, calling Ellen's name into the night. But Ellen was gone. The trail went cold. Fear settled over the town, a heavy blanket that smothered the usual sense of security. People locked their doors, whispered theories, and watched the shadows grow longer each night. Then a new name surfaced, one whispered in hushed tones. Iris Bellamy, a psychic known for her uncanny insights and mysterious past. Some doubted her, others clung to hope. Desperation led the community to her door, seeking answers that logic and evidence could not provide. They hoped she could see what others could not. The story of Ellen Parker and Iris Bellamy would become legend, a tale of two women who vanished, one after the other, leaving behind only questions and rumors. It all began with a single, desperate phone call, a plea for help that would unravel the fabric of the town's peace. The psychic knew too much, her visions blurring the line between reality and nightmare. She became the town's last hope, and its next mystery. And then, she was gone. Just like Ellen, Iris Bellamy vanished, leaving Doylestown with nothing but secrets and the echo of that fateful call in the night. Iris Bellamy didn't fit the stereotype of a psychic. There was nothing flamboyant or theatrical about her, no flowing robes, no incense swirling in the air. Instead, she exuded a quiet confidence, the kind that made people lean in and listen, even when she said very little. Her studio was lined with books on psychology and history, not crystal balls. The shelves overflowed with well-thumbed volumes, each one a testament to her lifelong curiosity about the human mind and the patterns that shape our lives. She held a psychology degree from Temple University and was known for her sharp intuition, even in college. Professors remembered her as the student who always seemed to know the answer before the question was finished, and classmates often sought her advice on everything from relationships to career choices. After traveling, she settled in Doylestown, opening inner sight consultations. The little office quickly became a fixture in the community, a place where people came not just for predictions, but for understanding. Clients came for guidance, not just predictions. They brought their worries, their hopes, and their secrets, trusting Iris to help them make sense of the chaos in their lives. She blended empathy with insight, helping people see patterns in their lives. Her sessions felt less like fortune-telling and more like a gentle unraveling of tangled threads, revealing choices and possibilities that had always been there, just out of sight. Her predictions were specific and often eerily accurate. She would jot down details in her worn notebook, sometimes describing events that hadn't yet happened with uncanny precision. She warned of storms, bad investments, and more. Some clients left her office with a sense of relief, others with a shiver of unease, but all remembered her words when the future unfolded just as she'd described. Some found her unsettling, but many saw her as a source of comfort. In a world full of uncertainty, Iris offered a rare kind of clarity, and her reputation spread quietly from neighbor to neighbor. Iris was private, tending her garden and keeping her past to herself. She found solace among her flowers, preferring the company of growing things to the noise of gossip and speculation. When asked about her abilities, she'd simply say, "We all have intuition, I just listen closely." She never claimed to be special, and that humility only made people more curious. Her humility only deepened her mystique. People wondered what she saw when she looked at them, and what secrets she kept hidden behind her gentle smile. She was part of the community, yet always a little apart, one foot in the world of shadows and secrets. At dusk she could be seen walking the quiet streets lost in thought, as if listening to whispers only she could hear. Her reputation grew, and so did the whispers. Some called her a miracle worker, others a mystery, but all agreed she was unlike anyone the town had ever known. In a town desperate for answers, Iris became their last hope. People waited weeks for an appointment, hoping she could shed light on their darkest fears, but even she couldn't foresee what would come next. The future, as Iris knew better than anyone, always held one more secret. 2 weeks into Ellen Parker's disappearance, hope was fading. Detective Miles Corbin, a man of facts, was out of leads. The case was a void. No evidence, no witnesses. The community's fear turned to frustration. The Parker family was devastated. A rookie officer mentioned Iris Bellamy, the psychic on Main Street. Corbin dismissed the idea, until another week passed with no progress. Desperation outweighed skepticism. What did they have to lose? Swallowing his pride, Corbin made the call. He scheduled a meeting with Iris Bellamy. It was a long shot, but it was all they had left. The investigation was about to take a turn no one expected. Sometimes, the only way forward is through the unknown. Corbin and his partner, Detective Walsh, stepped into Iris's studio, the air thick with incense and the weight of desperation. They exchanged uneasy glances, both skeptical but out of options, driven by the urgency of Ellen's disappearance. The room was dim, cluttered with crystals and flickering candles, casting strange shadows on the walls. Every detail seemed to whisper secrets, and for a moment, time felt suspended. Iris listened intently as Corbin explained the case, her eyes never leaving his. She then quietly requested Ellen's photograph and a map of the area, her voice calm but commanding. The detectives hesitated but handed them over, watching as Iris's demeanor shifted from gentle curiosity to intense focus. She closed her eyes, fingertips gliding over the photograph, her breathing slowing as she entered a deep concentration. The silence in the room grew heavy, broken only by the faint ticking of a clock. Minutes passed, each one stretching longer than the last as Corbin and Walsh waited, caught between hope and disbelief. At last Iris opened her eyes, her voice low and certain. "She's near water. Cold water, twisted metal, red and rusted," she said, her finger landing on a spot near Neshaminy Creek, just outside the official search grid. The detectives exchanged glances. This was an area they hadn't considered. Walsh studied Iris, searching for any sign of deception but saw only conviction in her eyes. "It's worth a look," she urged, her voice steady, as if she already knew what they would find. Corbin hesitated, torn between skepticism and a growing sense of possibility. Reluctantly, he picked up the phone and ordered a team to search the area Iris had indicated, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. Less than an hour later, the call came. A team had found Ellen's body by the old bridge, just as Iris described. The scene was eerily quiet, the only sounds the rush of the creek and the distant calls of birds. Nearby, a piece of rusted red farm equipment lay tangled in tall weeds, exactly as Iris had seen in her vision. The details matched perfectly, down to the color and the twisted metal. The detectives and officers on scene exchanged stunned glances, struggling to process what had just happened. Iris had been right, about everything. The accuracy was impossible to ignore. News of the discovery spread quickly, sending shockwaves through the town and the police department. People gathered in small groups, whispering in disbelief, unable to comprehend how a psychic could have known what trained investigators had missed. Corbin found himself questioning everything he thought he knew about evidence and intuition. How could she have known? Was it luck, or something beyond explanation? The line between coincidence and something more had blurred, leaving everyone involved with a sense of unease and wonder. The case had taken on a new, almost supernatural dimension. Reporters swarmed the police station, headlines blaring about the mysterious case and the psychic at its heart. The investigation was no longer just a search for answers. It had become a phenomenon that captured the imagination of the entire community. And at the center of it all stood Iris, the enigmatic psychic whose vision had changed everything, leaving the town forever altered, and the detectives with more questions than answers. Finding Ellen's body brought no closure, only more questions. The case shifted to homicide, and Iris became a key figure. Detectives returned to her studio for answers but found it closed, a note on the door. Closed for a family emergency. Days passed, no word from Iris. Her phone went unanswered. Walsh checked her cottage, mail piled up, the garden untended. Iris had vanished, just like Ellen. The police opened a second missing person case. Her wallet and car were left behind, no signs of struggle. It was as if she'd stepped out and disappeared into thin air. The town was stunned, first the librarian, now the psychic. The coincidence was chilling. Iris, the woman who saw hidden truths, had become a mystery herself. Doylestown was left with more questions than ever. With Iris gone, rumors spread like wildfire. Some believed she fled, terrified by what she'd seen. Others thought the killer had silenced her. Detective Corbin feared the worst. If the murderer knew a psychic led them to Ellen, Iris was a loose end. The search for Iris became a hunt for a killer. Fringe theories flourished. Was Iris involved? Did she know too much? Online, some accused her of being the mastermind. The town grew divided, suspicion and fear taking root. Friends defended her, insisting she was a gentle soul who helped others. She saw too much, and someone made her disappear, one said. The truth was lost in the shadows. Doylestown was left to wonder hero, victim, or something else. July 3, 2025. Months have passed. Ellen Parker's murder remains unsolved. Iris Bellamy is still missing. Her studio stands empty, a silent monument to the mystery. Children dare each other to peek inside but find only dust and silence. The story has become local legend, a modern ghost story. Some remember Iris with awe, others with unease. Detective Corbin is haunted by the case, wondering if he put her in danger. We have a victim, a location, and a witness who vanished, he says. It defies logic. The questions linger. Who killed Ellen? What happened to Iris? Was the truth stranger than anyone imagined? The puzzle remains unsolved, the legend of the woman who vanished into her own mystery echoing through Doylestown.